Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Mark's Shelf Space, and today I'm going to be taking a look at Fantastic Four Antithesis. This was a 4-issue limited series put out by Marvel, and I'm going to talk about whether this is a hype or a hold, so stay tuned. Alright, so welcome back, everyone. First, let's talk about Fantastic Four Antithesis #1. So this book starts out with Fantastic Four battling Antithesis in the middle of New York City. Antithesis transported through a tear in the negative zone. There was a tear essentially that opened up in the middle of New York City. So here's Antithesis terrorizing the city, battling the Fantastic Four. It's kind of an anticlimactic battle. Fantastic Four end up vanishing back to the negative zone and close the portal. So then we transition to Reed working in his lab, ignoring his family, you know, the typical trope that he always does. And Sue Storm wants a date night, and he's ignoring her. So she gets his attention, but as she gets his attention, the alarms in the Baxter building ring, which indicate an incoming meteor that's going to hit Earth. So Reed mobilizes the team real quick and talks about the satellites he has built in space for just such an occurrence that are supposed to stop the meteor right before it hits Earth. So anyways, this meteor passes these satellites. They don't stop it, and everybody starts freaking out. The Fantastic Four start freaking out. They enact a backup plan using their 4 powers to divert this meteor to an uninhabited place on Earth. Then you wrap this up. It turns out at the end of this, the meteor is actually Silver Surfer. And when the Fantastic Four ask him what's wrong, because he's like all black and melting, right? He says Galactus is dead. And that's the end of issue 1. So it was a pretty quick read, not much to it. Then we get into #2 here. So Fantastic Four Antithesis #2. This features the first appearance of essentially as Galactus's antithesis, right? So this starts off with Surfer recounting what happened and led him to the crash landing on Earth. And he tells the Fantastic Four that a dimensional rending between the negative zone and the realm that he was in the Comet Galaxy with Galactus, brought an entity through this rend, and it essentially was the Galactus's antithesis. So like where Galactus is a world eater, he goes around sucking up planets to feed himself. He takes their life to feed himself. The antithesis is the opposite of that, and this is this creature from the negative zone actually giving life or giving a negative energy to planets, but that negative energy turns their souls black and essentially allows him to control them. And he wants to build an army of pawns, that just blindly follow his lead and to take over the world, or the universe, I guess, in this case. So anyways, there's a battle ensues between Galactus and Antithesis, and Antithesis breaks Galactus's suit and banishes Galan, which is the mortal form of Galactus, into the negative zone, and then he closes the rend. So now Galan is off in the negative zone by himself, and Antithesis is free to go start taking these planets and putting his negative energy on those planets to turn them into his soulless followers. So anyway, Surfer tries to stop Antithesis, but he can't. He's not powerful enough. Antithesis beats him, and Surfer, plummets to Earth in the meteor that we talked about in issue 1. And Surfer finishes off his story talking about how the next target for Antithesis is obviously Earth, right? Because why else would the Fantastic Four be involved? I mean, and where's the next logical target when you're talking about putting a bad cosmic guy in comics that involves the Fantastic Four? Always going to come back to Earth. Maybe not always Earth, but in this case, it seems like the plot, the storyline, it was headed that way, and it just seems like the writers didn't try real hard to work this plot. Also in this issue, the Fantastic Four travel into the negative zone to find Galan and rescue him before something bad happens to him in the negative zone because he's in his mortal form. So they find him, they battle Anilus again, and Surfer rescues them out of the negative zone and brings them back to Galactus's ship in space. And that's where this issue ends. So then we transition over to issue 3 here. Fantastic Four Antithesis 3. So in this issue, Galan puts together a plan to retrieve the negative energy that Antithesis is spreading throughout the cosmos by imbuing the Fantastic Four with the power cosmic. He doesn't tell them, he just does it, and then they're all surprised that, you know, now they have the power cosmic and it feels great, right? So anyways, they set off on a mission to go absorb this energy. While they're doing this, Antithesis confronts Reed and Galan on Galactus' ship, you know, and he talks about, oh, I'm going to kill you guys, and a battle ensues. Anyways, we'll fast forward here a couple pages, and Johnny and the team that were out trying to get the negative energy, they come back to the ship, and they find, you know, Reed and Galan about to be in a battle with Antithesis, and the negative energy that they found and absorbed while they were out is used to send Antithesis back to the negative zone. And ultimately, when the dust settles from this battle, which was like a page or two, I mean, it was so anticlimactic. You know, I just thought, like, if they're going to introduce this Antithesis of Galactus, you know, like do something cool with him, but like the battle was not a page or two maybe at that. So they use this energy, negative energy, to ban him back to the negative zone. But then when the dust settles, Reed is now in Galactus' suit, and that is the end of issue 3, which moves us into issue 4 here. And in this issue, Reed reveals that he used the power cosmic on himself in hopes of understanding why he was forgetting things recently, and to make himself intellectually stronger, because he felt, you know, like, how can I lead this team if I can't solve all the problems and answer all the questions? So he thought by using this power cosmic to put himself into Galactus' suit, now he would be all-knowing, and he would be like the intellectual superior. But also, on top of this, he vows to starve himself in Galactus' suit, so that essentially Galactus is no more and cannot terrorize the cosmos any longer. Meanwhile, Galan reveals that he's happy to be free of Galactus' suit, and he doesn't particularly care about helping Reed, because now that's Reed's problem that he's in the suit, and Galan wants to just go on being his mortal self. But Ben and the team can't let that happen, so Ben devises a plan to have Agatha Harkness combine her sorcery with the power cosmic. Together, they send a beacon to Reed. It was Agatha and Surfer, so blending the magic, the sorcery, and the power cosmic. So they send this beacon to Reed, reinforcing the good nature of the human race in hopes that it will draw him to Earth, you know, the Reed in Galactus' form. So it works, you know, he basically like pops up outside their window and it's like, oh, hey, Galactus is here, you know, or the Reed Galactus is here. And then Sue and team appeal to Reed, you know, talking about you can't starve yourself and die because the kids need you to be a father. And Reed relents and lets go, like he just lets go of the power cosmic, I guess, with his mind. And so he, you know, lets it go, leaves the suit. But what he did at the end of this is left a piece of his conscience with Galactus's power cosmic in hopes of stopping him from wanting to eat Earth. Right, so that's like the, I don't know, the cliffhanger ending. Just there's a continuation, you know, at some point, right? Like Reed left his conscience in there, and see how it plays out. Does it really matter? I don't know. So anyways, is this a hype or a hold? I think this book is definitely a hype. I mean, Antithesis, you bring this Antithesis into the book that can destroy Galactus, and he's only in I think he's only in 2 of the 4 issues, and the battles are completely anticlimactic. He doesn't seem to have, I mean, he's strong, but maybe he's just so strong that the battles need to be anticlimactic. I don't know, but it seems like it was 1 or 2 panels. He beats Galactus, but then, you know, they turn the power cosmic on him and beat him again in 1 or 2 panels, and he's banished to the negative zone. So I don't feel like he was introduced or given any real meaningful story in here. And this was mostly just a way to sell a new character with a series and, you know, hype it up for book sales, in my opinion. And I bought into this. Maybe unfortunately, I guess, I don't know. But if you have there's a couple different covers here. So the 4 that I showed you, there's also a second printing here. This is just a capture from one of the issues, if I remember correctly. This was like a full page spread on one of them. But then there's this, the Alex Ross variant. So we can take a look at the eBay sales here recently. So if you have this, I mean, again, I think this is hype. I think it's time to just go ahead and sell this. Recent eBay sales will show that it's, I think it's $80 to $100 book when it's graded by CGC. There might have been a couple sales even over 100, but I'll pop that up here when I go back and edit the video. So that's my review of this. Again, I think it's a hype. Unfortunately, you know, it seemed like Antithesis had, like, the idea behind it was cool, but the execution of it was not, didn't really make me buy into the character. So maybe he'll come back at some point, but I mean, I don't think he's not a long-standing character in my opinion, especially since he's banished to the negative zone, you know. So anyways, that's my review. Hope you guys like it. If you did, please go ahead and subscribe, like the video, and I look forward to any comments that you have, and thanks for watching.